So today we're going to go over the chromatic scale, which you can see right here. Beautiful chromatic scale laid out there. When we use the chromatic scale, it's important to try to count the half steps. So from one of these notes to the next is a half step. If we were to skip one, we'll call that a whole step. Using whole step and half steps is great for when you want to build scales, chords, and intervals. But right now we're just going to stick to the idea of the chromatic scale, a collection of all of the notes available to us when creating. It's a good idea to look at the chromatic scale kind of like a ruler. Later on, we're going to be using the ruler to judge the distance between one note to the next. That's something we're going to call an interval. Just as a side note, when intervals are played on top of each other at the same time, like this C and an E, that's called a harmonic interval. But if they were to play in sequence, like in a melody, that would be a melodic interval. In this case, a major third, C to E. Now the chromatic scale could be used as more than just a ruler. It's also a good component to melodies and solos. Let's just talk about the word chromatic for a second. So chromatic has an opposite. The opposite of chromatic would be a word called diatonic. Diatonic means within a key. So chromatic being the opposite, it means outside of a key, not within the key, right? But a chromatic scale doesn't have a key at all. That is simply saying all 12 of the notes, specifically the notes in Western music. So if you're at a piano at home and you want to play through the chromatic scale, a good fingering to do so would just be what we call 1 and 2, or thumb and pointer, right? So thumb, pointer, thumb, pointer. And then to help your thumb get back underneath, we can use our middle finger once in a while as a bridge. I personally do the middle finger kind of anytime I plan on changing directions. So just for the sake of the ears, we're going to play through the chromatic scale starting on C4, everybody's favorite note, middle C. So the chromatic scale is something that we are going to be using a lot, and I highly recommend kind of memorizing and just getting really comfortable saying them. Also, I should note that there is something called an enharmonic equivalent. So that's if I were to say C to C sharp to D flat. Okay, usually when we're ascending, going up melodically in music, we use sharps, and when we're descending in a chromatic setting, we use flats.